Monique Fitzgerald over here. Monique is a climate justice organizer with the Long Island Progressive Coalition, another well-known nonprofit here on Long Island. Monique is a justice seeker, a community advocate, and an organizer. She's been working in her community now for over 2 decades, focusing on mutual aid efforts, know your rights, community resource distribution, food sovereignty, environmental, and climate justice. She was born and raised in North Belport and is a Black Indigenous person of occupied Long Island. Monique attended St. Joseph's College and obtained her bachelor's degree in community health and human services in 2012. She then went on and obtained her master's degree at Stony Brook University on School of Social Welfare. So please, round of applause. We'll welcome Monique.
Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate you for that intro. I did write it, but you said it so eloquently. Yeah, so hey, everyone. How are you all doing today? It's been a long morning, right? All right, I'm going to be quicker probably than the other speakers, but I do want to bring your attention to 3 words that Daniel just mentioned in my intro that I think kind of is a thread throughout this. And since our county exec pointed me out about the Brookhaven landfill and also mentioned it, I will be talking about that as well. So yeah, kudos to him for the prompt. So the 3 words that I wanted to bring your attention to is justice, organizing, and indigeneity. So y'all all have cell phones, right? Could you break out your cell phone? Permission to use your cell phone at a school event. Could you type in the word native-land.ca.com? So when you do that, you'll see a map and like a sub kind of prompt. And what I want you to do in the search engine of that web page is to type in Stony Brook, which is where we are right now, right? And so have y'all done that? What comes up when you type in Stony Brook? Anybody want shout it out? Settlecott, yes, Settlecott. So as Daniel said in my intro, I am indigenous to this land right here that we stand on. My mother's family was here pre-colonialism, and we are part of the Settlecott Nation. So wherever you are in this world, you can find out who are the original stewards of the land just by using that website. It'll do it anywhere in the world. So you don't have to be here in Stony Brook. You can be in your home communities and find out who are the stewards of those of that land. I know we have land in the house, right? There's a reservation in that school district called the Unkechuck or Puspatuck Reservation. And so when you're in your home community, you have many people around you that you probably are not so attuned to. But I encourage you to do that work, because when we talk about climate, it starts with indigenous communities. Indigenous communities stewarded this land for tens of thousands of years successfully without this business of fossil fuels and emissions. So we have to tap into the people that are around us, but maybe have some insight on the better ways forward, right? All right, so second word, justice. So climate justice and advocacy. So we had some folks up here who talked about activism, and we had people talking about climate, environmentalism, and things like that, but we cannot forget justice. Justice is as important as the word climate. we are not able to transition equitably without justice. So a huge organization, national organization that works on this specifically is called Climate Justice Alliance. And what they say is a transition is inevitable, but justice is not. And what that means is we might change over from fossil fuels to renewable energy. We might do that in some communities way faster than other communities. And we have to recognize that there's going to be a difference, and it's up to us to ensure that everyone has an equitable, has access to renewable energy. So it's all up to us. That same organization kind of defines what climate justice is. And that is a moral and ethical principle that seeks to address the disproportionate impact of climate change on vulnerable communities and future generations. So we know some communities live closer to flood zones. We know communities that are impacted by active landfills, right? So an exec talked about the Brooklyn landfill, which is on the island. If you live in Florida, if you go to Metro Medford, you probably have seen the Brooklyn landfill. It's 270 feet tall. And the community surrounding that landfill, called North Bedford, has the lowest life expectancy on Long Island. And we say that that is not a coincidence. That is directly a result of living next to this landfill. So a lot of them talked about a lot of things that I was going to bring today, the Climate Leadership and Protection Act in particular. So Manage was here, and he talked about how he wrote this law and he put it passed. And we definitely applaud him for doing that. It was a landmark bill that we are one of the best states in the nation and have the best climate law in the nation in New York State. So we're going to try to meet these mandates, but we have a whole bunch of barriers in the way. Now here's the justice piece. What this law says is we need to transition to renewable energy, and we need to invest in our communities that are most vulnerable. So we have identified communities across the state that are highly impacted, most vulnerable to climate change risk, and we need to invest 35% of climate funding to those communities, and we have a goal of 40%. And this is all minimum, right? There's nothing saying that we can't invest more than this 35 or 40%. So here are some of the factors that make a community disadvantaged. Right? And we know some of these communities are Long Island. One of the big factors, like I said, an active landfill. If you live in an active landfill, more likely your community is disadvantaged. If you have high asthma rates, more than likely your community is disadvantaged. There's a lot of things that factor into this equation. Subprime loans, if you are living within the poverty limit, then you are most likely living in a disadvantaged community. Now, that doesn't mean that you are responsible for the conditions that you live in. This means that the state is responsible for taking care of you. And this is what this bill, this law says. So I know we talked a little bit about some of the political landscape that we're in right now. We haven't really named it so much. I think sometimes we try to be very politically correct on that, and we don't want to name things out loud. And one of the things we don't like to talk about is politics. But we're going to talk about politics today, okay? So right now we have a federal government that has been backsliding on our laws to protect communities from climate change. And in New York State, we have the opportunity to butt up against that. So we are working for the climate budget to include things that would help us transition in an equitable way for climate. And I see that I have 0 minutes left. So I will get to those things, but I do have a table like some of the other presenters. So you all can come over here to my table and take a look at what we have over there, and we can talk a little bit more. Especially if folks want to talk about the landfill and how we can close it down for real. And clean it up. Then this is the cleaning section. We have some call to action, but I know Melissa has some that she wants you all to do as well. And then lastly, I would just say you can get in touch with us in so many ways, right? Social media, our webpage, my email, and our volunteer form. So thank you all. It's great to see you all here. Yeah, everybody come take a look at the table, and I would like to continue the conversation.